Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson. You can't see me, but you can see that Donald Trump is the president and CEO of USA Incorporated. It's a global Trump company. I thought I'd create a business card for him. He doesn't need my help, apparently. But anyway, so there we go. Let me get rid of that and go back to the screen. So, hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This is Cassandra Williamson. As I said before, I'm coming to you from Eastern Kentucky and Pike County, actually, in a little town called Hardy, which is right along or near the Tug River, which separates Kentucky and West Virginia. It's right in the corner there where Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia all come together. It's in Hatfield-McCoy feud country. And it's one of the best ATV places for riding on the trails of the Hatfield-McCoy trails in the country. So I invite you to come around here and just participate in that. They are having in Williamson, my birth town, Williamson, West Virginia, they are having dirt days starting tomorrow and going through Saturday. So go on down and participate. Come in and join. I may go out there and take some videos myself. You may see me hanging out. Okay, so now what's been going on? Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Kennedy, his office, released the much anticipated report that has to do with gender dysphoria and gender affirming care, ostensibly titled for trans kids or gender non-conforming children and adolescents. However, we know how this stuff works. This is just the first step because you never can take them at just their word as to what they're actually doing. You have to look ahead and anticipate where they're going. So the next thing they're going to be going for are all trans people in the country, and they would love to see them put in institutions and go back to the 1950s, like with electroshock therapy. They put Alan Turing through because he was gay. They'd love to be able to do that. All of that kind of non-gender affirming care. Well, HHS's report does exactly what we expected it would do. First thing you need to know is that they didn't release the names of those people who investigated this, who put this report together. All they said was that this was a politically diverse group of scientists focused on, doing science. Well, we'd like to know who they are, because I can guarantee you that not a single one of them is a professional in any one of these fields that knows anything at all about gender and sex. I can guarantee you they don't. They claim to be some doctors in that group, but I'm going to tell you the HHS report builds off of the Cass report from over in England, which was also a very weak report. It was not done well. There were a lot of mistakes and errors within that thing. The logical construct of it was wrong, and everybody knows that. But they, here in the U.S., are just looking for anything out of Europe that says, we don't agree with that, even though the whole process, the methodology used by the Cass report was invalid and wrong. And so is this report from HHS. So what am I going to tell you about that? Well, they go after trans kids, okay, and the care for them. And that's true. There's a valid concern for protecting children from things that are crazy. However, the stuff that they say in this report having to do with all of the issues with it, well, the problems with it, there is regret in every single medical procedure there is. Trans affirming care, gender affirming care is no different. The numbers are not any great. As a matter of fact, they're less than the type of regret or the level of regret we see with anything, such as knee replacement surgeries, hip replacements, valve replacements in the heart. The level of regret with those procedures is greater than the regret that trans kids and trans adults experience for any procedure, any hormone, any kind of gender affirming societal care or anything like that, period. But the right and HHS has made a point of spending all of their energy and effort focused directly on one thing, the mistakes. Now, let me tell you something. I have no problem at all acknowledging mistakes and not acknowledging errors in the scientific report or the studies or the statistical analysis of it. I've got no problem with acknowledging that. Science is not perfect, but the thing about science that does work right is that we actually use those things to learn from and improve what we know. What this administration has done, though, is they've cut the legs out from under all of the scientific research. They're claiming that the scientific research that has been done, and they put it all on Biden, but no, this is not the case. It's been going on since, well, for 4 decades, 3 or 4 decades now. This kind of research, there's lots of research out there. People have been doing it for a long time. One of the best research projects that was done involved 96,000 transgender Americans. It was done just 2 years ago. It supports nothing that was done by HHS in their report. Nothing at all. 96,000 transgender Americans responded to their survey at, what is it called now? They changed their name recently. It's Advocates for Transgender Equality. Now, all the people over on the right, they're going to go around going, but that's what we're trying to tell you. We don't trust those people. We don't think they're good scientists. Well, in fact, they are. They're reputable scientists, recognized. They've been peer reviewed. Their work is peer reviewed. It's not the HHS report. It's not going to go through a peer review process because they know darn well peers would not review it and accept it. They would send it back to the authors and say, y'all need to redo this. That's wrong. So basically what they're doing is they're putting out their report. They're not putting out a peer-reviewed report. They're putting it out there, not like publishing it in the Atlantic and saying, oh, it's valid because we put it in the Atlantic. You know, it's published. It's a published study, but it's not a peer-reviewed published study. Peers in this field of study, gender-affirming care or gender care or transsexual care or transgender medicine, they would look at that report and laugh you off the freaking stage. It's garbage. It's garbage. But here's the thing. Transgender people don't have the numbers or the support to actually do anything or affect any kind of change or direct anything to do with our futures, because now it's in the hands of an administration that is taking the policy manual of Project 2025 and putting it on steroids and going after all trans people and even after all LGBT people, because they've always wanted to do that since the lavender scare in the 50s when they started kicking the gays out of the federal government, gays and lesbians out. Thousands were sent out and gotten rid of in federal government across the whole enterprise because they were gay and they thought they were a security risk, which is the craziest thing ever. But that was just an excuse because really it's a religious thing. Their objections aren't rational. They're faith. And you can't put those two things together. You can rationally believe your faith. That's fine. I don't have a problem with your faith. None whatsoever. None. I was raised in a very conservative Christian environment. Yes, I understand that. I do understand it. So let me just say this, though. Out of the 50s with the lavender scare, this stuff has been going on, and research has been going on for a long time. Many of you think that gender-affirming care is a new thing. No, the first one that I know of, at least, was in like 1930s. 1930s, folks. That's the first one I know of. And then a transgender person, not by that name or label, or not labeled or anything like that, but a trans man, meaning a person who was assigned female at birth, transitioned to a man in order to join the Union Army in the Civil War. Several of them actually did that. They were women, born women, who wanted to serve, did so as men honorably, were recognized and awarded, got their pension after the fact, and then when they died and somebody did an autopsy, they said, oh, wait a minute. No, that person was not a man. They were a female. And one of them even got sick one time and went to the doctor, and the doctor found out about what was going on and all this kind of stuff, and they stopped the pension until they realized, well, look, this person's been receiving the pension for 2 or 3 decades now, and probably ought to continue receiving the pension because they had served honorably in the military as a trans man. All right, that was in the Civil War. Come on. We have been here forever. We're not denying who we are. I know that on a superficial level, my genes say XY. My voice says that. I've got that old Marine Corps trick that says, I can do this kind of thing. Well, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I use that and have a lot of fun with it. And you can say whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me in the least. You know why? Because I have the grace to understand that you have a long way to go to understand who and what I am and how I got to be here and why it is so important that I continue to exist for me as me, period. Most times I feel like the eunuch that Philip went out into the desert to see in Acts chapter 8 in the Bible, in the New Testament. Same thing. Did you know that some of the eunuchs in the Bible were born that way and some were made that way? Oh, imagine that. Here we are. Here we are. Same crap, different day. But Philip didn't go out there and chastise that person. He went out there and told him the good news of Jesus Christ. So that Ethiopian eunuch could take that message back to Ethiopia. What do you think now? Well, the HHS report that we have out today it blasphemes the work that Philip did in Acts chapter 8. It's sacrilegious. Basically, if you're a faith person, it's sacrilegious to say that these people can't exist. We don't want them in the public square, but yet Philip went out into the desert and saw this person and didn't bother to even talk about that person's DNA. Or obviously, they didn't know that, or whether or not they dressed like a man or didn't dress like a man, or dressed like a woman and shouldn't have dressed like a woman, or something. Whatever it was, he didn't go out there and do that. He went out there and took the message of Jesus Christ to the eunuch, so that the eunuch could take that message back to Ethiopia. What's HHS trying to do? The exact opposite of that message. The exact opposite of that message. What they're trying to do is get rid of and make all the trans people just disappear out of the country altogether. They don't want to see them. They don't want to see us in any space in this country. And many of us have served our nation honorably, and we continue to serve. We stand here and fight. And many of us are doing like what I'm doing. Caring for my family, my mom, brother, sister, cousin, here in Eastern Kentucky, because, one, I'm retired. My kids are grown. My grandkids are, some of them, getting ready to graduate high school. So yeah, look, my responsibility is to the family that I have around me right now, and that I continue using my platform to talk to you about what's going on with HHS and this government under Trump. There's a lot of things that I can agree with Trump on. For one, the border does need to be secured. It doesn't bother me that he's taken the Roosevelt corridor down there along the southern border and converted it into a military thing. It doesn't bother me at all. It's a good thing, actually. There are some bad operators out there, some bad hombres who want to come into the country and do bad things. It's not the vast majority of them wanting to do bad things. It's just a handful, but you've got to have something to stir up the pot with, right? So you point out all the bad things. When somebody murders another person, that's pretty horrible. That's worthy of being pointed out. But the vast majority of people coming across that border, or were coming across the border, were coming here because they wanted better for their families. Their difficulty, the problem they had, is they came here illegally. If they had come in the right way, no problem. I would be fine. But they came here illegally. So let's round them up and get them out of here. Okay? Find them. Don't mistreat them. Treat them humanely. Do everything you can to protect their rights too, because they are human beings after all. But get them out of the country and let them come back in the right way. Everybody else did. Well, no, my family didn't. my my family came across from England in a ship, wooden ship, and settled in Virginia, like in the mid to the late 1600s. Okay, is when my family showed up in Virginia. So look, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, and the biggest thing is that there's a whole group of people out there over on the right who are following this extremism that's coming out of the right side of things, attacking minority populations, whether it's LGBT or trans people. They're going after them with everything they have, and they're not being very biblical about it. They think they are, but they don't realize that even the word homosexual didn't show up in the English translation of the Bible until like 1947. That's correct. It did not. Check it out yourself. It's there. Now, a little side note here. So I've been watching The Five over on Fox News. And I've been telling them for some time now that, they talk about being fair and balanced and being able to accept and entertain and at least talk to people who are different ideologically, who differ from their viewpoint ideologically. Well, so far they have refused to do that because, they don't want to bring me on. A lot of things I'll agree with them about, but a lot of things I won't. And they won't bring me on there. And if you happen to know anybody over there on that show, I'd love to go on and just sit down in one of those chairs over there with the Five and just have out this little argument with them. And you won't have Greg Gutfeld actually talking over somebody like they do with Jessica Tarlov all the time, or Ford. You won't have the judge talking over Jessica Tarlov. They'll be trying to talk over me, and that old Marine can kick in sometimes too, and go, hey, wait a minute. I'm talking now. You need to shut up and let me finish talking, Judge. Or Greg. They really disrespect the other people on there, but I would love to get in the middle of that because I would carry on a conversation with them about any topic that they want. And I could actually mention topics that they have no privy to. But anyway, and I happen to know that they are smart on that team. There's a lot of smart people there. A lot of good things have been said. But for the most part, every day they go after transgender people. Every day they mention something with diversity. Well, let me tell you something about diversity, equity, and inclusion before I get out of here. For one thing, you cannot escape the diversity that is in this population, in this country, whether it's ideological diversity, whether it is racial diversity, whether it is sex and gender diversity, whether it's sexual orientation diversity. Everyone has one of those. Everybody has a sexual orientation. Everybody has a gender identity and all that kind of thing. But anyway, there's a couple of people over here on my other screen from X.com or Twitter. And I've been talking with them, kind of chatting back and forth. It's really funny. I got this one person by the name of, hold on a minute. Who is it? Michael Mick, MC. Puts up a picture. It says, there's no penis in this picture, or something like that. Anyway, so I said, what are you looking for? You want me to affirm your gender or something? Another person puts up one of my videos from over here. Bonnie posted a video of me over there and saying, oh, dear Lord. Well, you ought to listen to it, Bonnie. You ought to listen to it rather than just saying, oh, dear Lord. Because you're going to find out some things that actually I speak the truth about. And over here, on down through here, Michael again says, that ain't no woman, it's a man. And that's the one where I said, you're looking for me to affirm your gender? Come on, get a buddy. And another one down through here. Let me see. Oh, Holly over here on X says this dude is nuts. And what they did was they copied my X profile and put it out there. And on my X profile, I got a picture of me where I'm standing down on the beach down in Grand Cayman. My goodness, that's 6 years ago now. More than 6 years. No, 5 years ago. And it's got my name and all that on there. And it says parent of 4, grandparent of 8, veteran of the Navy and Marines, and Naval Academy grad, serial entrepreneur, retired post-op trans woman. Yeah, Hardy, Kentucky. Uh-huh. This dude is nuts. Hi, Holly. How you doing? Fine. Call me nuts if you want to. Doesn't matter to me, but I am trying to do something to help people I care about. Family, friends, veterans. And right now, our VA secretary is doing everything he can to stymie everything that needs to be done for all of our veterans. He says he cares for all of our veterans, but in reality, he just cares for those that looks like him, who look like him, actually. So anyway, come back tomorrow evening. We'll have more fun with this because it's been fun. Let me see. There's been several people. I wanted to put a comment out here toward. Let me see. Just a dude 7878. He put on there, and Neil put this on there from QAnon or something like that, an Anon patriot, replying to them. And they posted something about me on there. Want to tag me in that dark web stuff. I don't freaking care. Do whatever the heck you want. I'm just going to live my life and you live yours. And, if you don't want to be like Philip from Acts chapter 8, then that's on you. Okay. And Holly. Okay. Holly just said, oh, like I care. Bye-bye. And let me see who else said something. American pride. It's been fantastic. We need to clean up the country. Nope. Oh, dear Lord. Not from a dude. Oh, Michael replied to my question, if he wanted to have me affirm his gender. He said, not from a dude. And then my reply was, hold on a minute. Let me find out what my reply was from this. Okay. Obviously, then, you're questioning your gender. Talk with a close friend. They would be better than me to offer support and advice. Oh, let me see who else commented on here. Oh, and I put a meme on there of me with a magnifying glass looking for whatever it is he's talking about. Anyway, so it's been fun. See you tomorrow evening. Have a great one.